Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video, How to Deal with Someone That Says the New Moon is a Full Moon. And what should pop in your head is one group, which is IUIC, which we call Israel United in Confusion, because they bring a lot of confusion to the mix, especially on YouTube and whatever platforms they deal with. So anyway, as of October, November of 2016, it was on the first time I heard it was, I believe it was on a Saturday, maybe a Friday night. And it was the leader of, which is General Nate, Bishop Nate, Captain Nate, whatever title he decides to be that day. He teaches that the new moon is actually the full moon, that they've been going off for years. So he maintained the fact that, and he called himself proving it. One scripture that he used was Psalms 81:3, which speaks about the new moon and the full moon. And he's saying, see, the new moon is the full moon. No, it says blow up the trumpet in the new moon. And it should say, and that's a thought. So it should be and the full moon on his feast days. Because what are your major feasts? It all says feast day, feast day, feast day, singular. So what feast day is it talking about? Could it be talking about what they call Rosh Hashanah, which is the Rosh Hashanah is the head of the year, which they say is a new year, but then Passover comes in a new year. So when they celebrate, the Jays celebrate Rosh Hashanah, they say, yeah, that's the beginning of the year. That's our New Year's. But like I said, the Lord says the Passover begins in the first month of the year. So the Passover begins in New Year. So New Year's comes not in the 7th month, but in the first month, which is the month of Bib. So now the IUIC uses, like I said, Psalms 81 verse 3. It's not talking about, you don't combine the two thoughts and say, oh, see, the new moon is the full. No. It says, it should say the new moon and the full moon on our, what does it say, on our feast day, I believe it says. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can go to it in the chat. Now, if you go to the commentary, you know, the Bible Hub or whatever, and I'm not going to go to it. I may go to it, but I don't need to go. I don't have no need to go to it, but I may go to it. But it says, and I read it, that they argue whether from one commentator to the next, they'll say, most of them say it's the tabernacles, because when does the tabernacles come in? The Feast of Tabernacles come in. It comes in the 15th day of the month. Other scholars say, oh no, it's the Passover, because the Passover comes in 14th day at evening, going into the 15th day. So it's talking about that, because it does not say on our feast days. It says on our feast day, singular. Then you have a feast day for the new moon. Every month you have a feast day for the new moon. Then you have a feast, the memorial of blowing of the trumpets, which celebrates all the new moons of the year. So that's like the head of new moon. So that's a high holy. Every month you got a new moon feast. It's also known as a Sabbath, where you rest. You don't work on that day. Then, in the cycle of the new moon, you have Sabbaths. And the Sabbaths don't come in on Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. The Jays got it wrong again, because they're not our people. You see, if we were to sit down with them, they'll buck up against it, but some of them will realize, yo, we've been going off. You've been going off because you're not the people. So then you might say, well, Tahar, you're going against the 7. Well, the 7 went off on certain things. You're gonna tell me that the Most High dealing with Ariah when he said that this guy's a comforter, and ultimately, and it said the comforter will be with you forever. So he died. What was that? 2020? Either 2020 or 2021, and he died of the thing that he said that that no Israelite can get. If you're in this truth, that you're protected from the thing, but that's what they say he died of. So when he, died, I'm talking about Tazadakia, and he's good now. He's good. If you have him as a son, you're going to be proud of him. You're going to say, that's my son. Oh, he was this guy in the past life. One of you are going to bring back a Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot going to come right back into order. And he's going to be an Israelite. He's going to be rich. He's going to have women. He's going to be a king. He's going to be a priest. He's going to be all. The scriptures speak about all of us being righteous. The scriptures also say, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherein dwelleth righteousness. Where's that place? When the kingdom is going to be on earth, but it's going to be when this man's taken down and our kingdom is established. And we are going to be righteous because the Most High is going to make us godlike. He's going to make us gods. Ye were gods, but ye shall die like men. And we are going to be gods on the earth. So anyway, I got a couple of tabs open. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to start at, and I may put this in the title too. I may put, what is this? Ecclesiasticus 43:7. So I'm going to start the 6th verse. Okay, it says, he made the moon also to serve in her season. The so-called Hebrew calendar, they say it's a lunar calendar. It's actually a solar lunar calendar. Because how do you count the days? By the sun. One day goes by to the next. You know that one day went by because the sun went up, went down. Complete, and then the sun goes up again. That's the second day, so forth. So our calendar is really not a lunar calendar, but a solar lunar calendar. But the main part of the calendar, the main component, is the moon. Because anybody knows when the next day comes, when the sun go down and the sun come up. You got a day cycle. It says he made the moon also to serve in her season. Oh, and then another thing. This is what the IUIC said. Well, wait a minute. Well, they said that when the moon was created, it was created as a new moon, which is the full moon, and it wasn't created. Well, we don't know that. It could have been out there because man and women were not on the scene to see it. It was before man was created. So if you were there, it could have been in the stage of the the new moon. So they add to the script. They're good at adding to the scriptures. They'll add to the scriptures. You gotta abide by the scriptures. You can't add or take away. So they'll say, "Oh, GMS is going off because they said the new moon is the dark moon." Well, wait a minute. The moon was created on the fourth day. Okay, so it was created on the fourth day, which it says, which is the 4,000 years. One day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years one day. So when you guys celebrate the Passover, when will be? If you're going by the new moon, which you are going by the new moon when it comes to the Passover. Y'all said that the first new moon was a full moon, right? The first moon that was created was a full moon. Perfect moon, right? So that would, if that moon was created, if the moon was created on the fourth day, then you got to go by the new moon. You look up in the sky, you see the new moon, which is the full moon, right? Whether it's the full moon or the full moon or the dark moon, whatever y'all say, y'all got to count 14 days from that new moon. What y'all say, IUIC says that the full moon is a new moon. Genesis 11 verse 14. I mean 1 verse 14. That the new moon was created on the fourth day. So guess what? When do you celebrate the Passover? It would have to be the 18th day at evening, going into the 19th day. Because if it's on the fourth day, you got to add extra days. So if you're dealing with the Gregorian calendar and you're dealing with the lunar cycle, then your Passovers would have to be 4 days. Actually, 18 days. I'm sorry. So you see, when you analyze things, and I'm going to say this again, most Israelites, the masses of the Israelites that are going to these different schools, they don't think. They don't use their brains. They don't study. They don't question things. They just say, this guy is a guy this is the vicar of the Lord. So whatever this nigga says is gospel. Scripture says, study to show thyself approved, right? Paul commended the church of Berea for what? For studying. Y'all just take, okay, the head guy said it, so it must be true. I'm going to go to it and I'm going to teach it. Give me a list of scriptures so I can defend it. That's why there's no uproar when, General Nate, Bishop Nate, whatever his High Priest Nate, Grand Poobah Nate, whatever his title is that particular day, whatever hat he wants to wear on that day. When I remember 2016, October, November, he did a class on it. You know us, we immediately jumped on it, right? So the mass of the people, a week before that, or a month before that, the new moon was a dark moon, right? All of a sudden he said, nope, the new moon is the full moon. I did study on it, and I'm going to give you a precept here and a precept there, and so forth and so on. There was a handful of people that wasn't with it. They left. A handful of people. And guess what happened to them? They went back into the world. That doesn't mean that they were wrong. They just it wasn't based upon faith. So somebody that taught you something wrong, you saw it, but you didn't see the bigger picture. Because had you left because of that, you would have kept going. I give these two demons, Hakkar and Hassad, credit for keep going, but they're going off. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is not dealing with Hakkar or Hassad at all. Them guys are two demons. So anybody that followed, and I see why Al-Azhar, Priest Al-Azhar, whatever his title is, pushed him out. That's why he said, "Hey, we got kicked out or we got pushed out." I got pushed out, and at the same time, Hassad left because he first heard Hakkar. So I said, "Well, wait a minute. There had to be some type of deal. Like, look, brother, if he pushes you out, we're gonna join. And we know we got certain brothers that gonna follow us, whatever the case may be. Because there's a lot of people left with Hakkar. A lot of people just left. They just left. They said, we ain't with Hakkar no more. We're with Genesis now." And as I said in the past, I used to always go into. I'm gonna get back in the subject. Bear with me. I'm kind of ranting a little bit. You always got to be thinking. You have to. If you don't have an analytical mind through the Spirit, you're not going to understand this. You're not going to study. You're not going to understand. You're not going to question things. You're just going to say, "Well, he said it. I'm going with him." All right. And if the guy does something wrong to you, you leave, and you'll fall out the truth, or you'll follow some other guy. Oh, he's the guy now. So anyway, let me get back into this, man. It says, so at the Passover, according to the IUIC, supposed to be on the 8th, what is it, the 14th day at evening, 15, 16, 17, 18 day at evening. So the day, that evening is the 18th day, sun going down, going to the 19th day. That's when they should have their Passover, right? Did not know they're gonna they're gonna follow the new moon like it's the first day of the month. But the new moon, according to Genesis, was the fourth day. See, the days in Genesis 1 has nothing to do with the days that we deal with, from sun up to sundown. The days in Genesis 1 is referring to a 1,000-year period. It tells you that in 2 Peter 3. I believe it's 2 Peter 3 and 7. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times. What does it mean by times? You can know what season you're in. You can know what high holy days coming up. You know that certain high holy days, when the Passover comes up, it spoke about months before it happens. So people get in the mindset of the Passover, right? When our kingdom comes, there's going to be a new Passover, for lack of a better term, that's going to outshine the Passover, but we're the Passover in the past, but we're still going to keep the Passover. So there's going to be another feast, high holy day, on the celebration of the like Egypt went down. We celebrating that. Passover is a celebration of Egypt going down, Mizraim going down. If you're a scholar, you would say Mizraim. So this Babylon going down, this system going down, there's going to be a feast day for that. And we're going to celebrate that feast day every year, depending on what day it comes in on. So there will be another feast day added to the feast days and the high holy days that we follow. It says, he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Now, in Genesis 1:14, it says days, seasons, months, years, and it says sign. So when you look up that word sign, it means omen. That's why you have red moons, you have solar eclipses, you have lunar eclipses. And by the way, when Yahushua was put on the cross, that was he ate the Passover. They grabbed him up that night. The 15th day, going into the 16th day, they judged him and they put him on the cross. And that was like I said, that was the 15th day in the daytime, which he represent the Lamb. So he represents the Passover. He's the Passover Lamb. He's the ultimate Passover Lamb. He was born on the Passover, and he was crucified on the Passover. So when you celebrate the Passover, you're really celebrating, Yahushua. It says from the moon is a sign of feast. Is the new moon? I mean, the new moon is a feast. Is the Sabbath a feast? Yes, the Sabbath is a feast. When does the Sabbath come in? On the 7th day, based upon what? The new moon. So if the new moon falls on a Tuesday night, according to the Gregorian calendar, there's going to be a cycle of Sabbaths based upon that Tuesday. That's why it changes up. For the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. When is a moon in her perfection? When it's full. It says a light that decreaseth. Decrease. The word is, and I'm going to show you that, the word is, what is it? Wane. You have waxing and you have waning. Let me go to that. I'm sorry. Right here. The eight lunar phases are in order. There's 8 lunar phases. New moon. That's a new moon right there. That's a new moon right there. Where you see a slither of light. Sliver. I get those two words, sliver and sliver. They sound so close together. Let me see. The 8 lunar phases are in order: new moon, waxing crescent, waxing crescent. Let me see something. So this would be a waxing crescent. Give me a second. This will be, you can hardly see it. It says waxing crescent. And that's a week. That's 7 days into the new moon. When this new moon starts on this day, 7 days a week, that's when you know you're in week 1, the first 7 days. So when you see the moon in this phase, that's the Sabbath. Next week is, I'm sorry, I can hardly see it. Okay, you can see, okay, this is the first quarter. Waxing crescent. First quarter, that's week number 2. That's this is called waxing gibbous, and that's full moon. Hard to see the words there. It says first quarter. First quarter. Waxing crescent. First quarter. Waxing gibbous. Full moon. Waxing crescent. 1. Week number 1. First quarter. Week number 2. This will be first quarter. Waxing gibbous and the full moon. Then it decreases, which the word, instead of waxing, waxing means to grow, for lack of a better way of saying it. Waning means that it's weakening. The light is weakening, but it also weakens the same way it, you see the light come up. So now it's waning. It's getting weaker until it disappears. Waning gibbous. So this is, give me a second. This is a full moon. This is a waning gibbous. So when you look up in the sky, you know that you're 1 week further deeper into the full moon, which is about the 15th day. Then you got the third quarter. This is the first quarter. Then you got the third quarter. First quarter, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the light on the right side as you're looking up at the moon. Third quarter, you're gonna see the light on the left side, which they call a half moon. Waning crescent. That's a crescent. Then you got the new moon all over again. So if you can't see it, you're under a spell. These guys don't even realize that Esau broke this down to their science, that there's of this whole act of the moon cycle, like that in the calendar is 365 days. That's why this whole month, August, I don't even think I put my AC on. June and July I had the AC on here and there. But the month of August, I didn't have my maybe I put it on one time. I don't even believe I did that. I didn't put my AC on one time August because the calendar is all messed up. If you notice, this August it felt like fall. The last couple of days I was wearing a jacket. Week before that, I was wearing a t-shirt, and I kind of said, well, it's kind of, kind of cold. Let me just pull out a jacket now. The calendar's all out of whack. The calendar's all out of whack because they're going by 365 days. So guess what? Every year there's an extra 5 days added to that, right? So guess what? In 10 years, that's how many. 5 times 10 is what? 50. So you're off by 2 months. That's why they got to keep. They got the what do you call it? The leap years and all that. The calendar's all fucked up. Julius Caesar was going back and forth to Egypt. And he had to learn the calendar because he wanted to set up a calendar for the Roman Empire. If you can study it, man. And now the reason why Pope Gregory This was in the, what was it, 1500s? I think it was the 16th century around there. I'm not going to look for it. He had to redo the calendar based upon the Julian calendar because it was all messed up. You had summer months, it was dead winter. You had winter months, it was hot as hell. So the calendar was all out of whack. So he redid the calendar, but that calendar is all out of whack. And you can't tell me, oh, they knew about the 6 days so labor and 7 days of Sabbath. Oh, they followed the Egyptian calendar. The Egyptian calendar was all out of goddamn whack. Y'all don't even know that how many weeks is in an Egyptian month? I'm asking y'all, how many weeks are in an Egyptian month? Now, I know you're going to go to Google and look it up. But if you're honest, you would give me the honest answer. And they said, well, I looked it up and I was wrong. I'm not going to give you the answer. You ask the IUIC, they followed, Moses followed the Egyptian calendar. So you ask them, okay, how many weeks is in an Egyptian calendar month? Guarantee they don't know. I mean, they'll know it now when you deal with them because they're watching this video. The date, the cycle. Now I don't know how this works, but if you were to count the days, you would come exactly on the. If you started counting the days from September 1st, and you counted each and every day, you went back to September 1st, or that particular day, it will be off because of the Gregorian calendar, but it will definitely be off. But it would be 20, not 30 days. High Priest Ariel said, oh, it's 30 days. Then he said sometimes 31, sometimes 30. It's 30 days. That's what they say. It's actually 29.5 days. That's why the 1 month, the new moon will come in at night, at 11 p.m. Other months, it'll come in at 8 p.m. Sometimes it'll be 5 in the morning, 5:30, 5:36 in the morning. Why? Because it goes to the 29.5 days. And Esau counts the day. Look, Esau, they're wiser than Daniel. Esau goes into science, man. They can weigh the weight of a flame, which Ezra couldn't do. The angel said, "Wait, what's the weight of a flame?" Man, I don't know. Esau can weigh a flame. They can tell you how the weight of a flame, because the flame is energy. So E knows through science that it's actually 29.5 days. Okay, so now let's come back over here. I'm making this long so you can get the understanding. Like General Nato say, Jake took the Roman Empire, and on 193 AD, it was a black man, Septimius Severus. All he's doing is being a mockingbird, as to what Yeshaya said years ago. The first Israelite ruler of Rome, we took the Roman Empire with Nerva, 96 AD. That's why people are going to be in an uproar with the new movie, The Gladiator 2. And they saying why they got Denzel playing the Caesar. Because the Caesar at that time, Mike Cranus, was a so-called black man. Because when I saw the trailer, I said, wait a minute, who's that? And I went to the characters. Denzel's playing Caesar, Mike Cranus. I said, wait a minute, how is he black? Which I said, okay, this was 217 to 218 AD. I said, okay, Jake was ruling. So Esau is starting to say that. Ridley Scott, hey, I gotta hand it to him. He said, look, we gotta get a black guy to play the Caesar, because they were black back then. Where he went off on in the first one with Marcus Aurelius was a Jake. His son Commodus was a Jake. They were Jakes. Jake was in the rulership. The top generals were Jakes, man. They didn't took over. This is what Esau is afraid of right now. Because they have the history as when we took this place down. So we got the truth. I'm going a little long, but if you want to move on, you go ahead and move on. And then when you run it, if you run into IUIC member, you won't know how to break this down. Okay, so now let's do this. Let me try to speed this thing up. Like one of the bankers told Ronald Reagan, he's making a speech in this bank. I forget his name. Somebody help me out. He came behind a curtain. I think it was a curtain. And this guy was making a speech. And this guy said to Reagan, speed it up. And Reagan looked and nodded his head and sped it up. Because what is a president? A president is just a front guy. That's Ronald McDonald. Is the Burger King manager. When that money is gathered together, that manager puts it in an envelope and sends it to corporate office. He gets a little salary, and if he ain't acting right, they get rid of him. Just like a president, get rid of you. Sometimes drastically, man. So, let's get back into this. Matter of fact, let's go back to, and if you can't get this, you're going to take the micro C hip. Okay? How about that? He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast. The Sabbath is also a feast. Read, matter of fact, let me go to it. And Moses speak unto the children, sons of Israel. The word there is sons. If you're a scholar, you say sons. But it says children. Yeah, but the Hebrew says sons, bunyam. It says bun, which is supposed to be bunyam, plural. And say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. It's a holy day. Have no sex on the day. Even these are my feasts. So anything written in the next verse or the next couple of verses down, they all go under the category of feast. Laws of religious festivals or feast. What's the first feast? 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest. Is the Sabbath a feast? Yes. How do we know that? Even these are my feast. So you prepared the food, cooked the food, killed the lamb, whatever you had to do before the sun went down. When the sun went down, you ate on the Sabbath. And that's what we're going to be doing in the kingdom. We're going to feast. Whoever you have cooking, the servants cooking, Elam or whatever, you're going to say, cook it this way, make it well done, this, that, and the third. But they're going to be looking up. They're going to time it. They're going to say, oh, wait, hold up now. The sun getting ready to go down. We better. They're going to time it. They're going to time it right. So when the sun go down, the food is there. So what day, it says 6 days. 6 days according to what? The Egyptian calendar? The Julius calendar? The Gregorian calendar? The Mayan calendar? What calendar are we going by? We're going by the solar lunar calendar, which is the new moon. So the first Sabbath is a new moon. The second Sabbath will be, the 7 day Sabbath, right? And so forth. So 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest. What's another name for the Sabbath? A feast. Even these are my feast. Here it is. I'm going to read it again. Sons of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. A calling in. You blow the trumpet. Even these are my feasts. And we're supposed to all gather, but we can't gather. We're living in different places. If you really want to get technical, if you want to bring in the Sabbath the right way, you got to get with people and have the food ready and you eat on that day. Then you sleep, You don't have no sex. Keep the Sabbath holy by keeping yourself holy. And then you go to temple. And then you read. And then meanwhile, during the week, your conversation is the Lord's. Peter said that what manner of person ought ye to be in all holy conversation. So what did he say right before that? He's speaking about the destruction. So we're supposed to be speaking about the downfall of this place, the laws, statutes, commandments, the prophecies, the writings. We ain't supposed to be talking about who gonna win this fight between Floyd and John Gotti, the junior, whatever, the third. Or what do you think LeBron James gonna do this year? When is he gonna? No, your conversation is always scriptural. Your conversation is always scriptural. I don't know what you guys are doing that you don't do a video. What you do a video once a month. What the hell are you doing the rest of the time? You're doing worldly things. So the Sabbath is based upon the new moon, not Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Okay, so now let me see. Let me come back over here. Let me get ready to land this plane. It said, from the moon is the sign of feast, which includes the Sabbath, a light that decreases in her perfection. When is it a light? When it's a full moon. That's a complete full moon, right? Which is a perfect moon. Oh, that's a perfect full moon. It's actually a perfect moon. It says a light. That's a full moon. That decreases, goes down, diminishes in her perfection. And when is her perfection? When the moon is full. So what does the word decrease mean? It means to go be a less of something. You born as a newborn baby. You in your prime, 20 years old, 25 around there, 30, 35, you start decreasing. Middle age is like 35, 40. That's when you're middle age. Give me a second. So when does it decrease? Right here. In its perfection. So how can this be the new moon? You didn't see in this cycle. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Okay, that's waning, which you can hardly see. Let me do this. Let me open this up. Okay, I'm sorry, waxing. I'm sorry. That's the new moon, which is a dark moon. Waxing means it's growing. The light is growing. Waxing crescent. First quarter. Waxing gibbous. Full moon. That's when the moon is in a perfection. Wane means to decrease. Decreases in her perfection. She starts to decrease. Waning, decreasing, gibbous, third quarter. Waning crescent, new moon. So they got it right. Esau got it right. So give me a second here now. So it says, from the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. It wanes in her perfection. When is the moon in her perfection? Her prime? When it's full. And really the word new, the Lord gonna give us a new name. The word new means new, but it also means renew or refresh. Because the word in Colossians 2 verse 16, Paul mentions the new moon. The word new is kainos, which means refresh, because the Most High doesn't throw that moon away like a Dixie cup or a napkin and build a new moon. No, it appears in the sky as a new moon because it's going through its stages. It's actually to be a renewed moon. It's the same moon being renewed. It says the month is called after her name, which the word moon means. The word month means moon. Increasing, which is waxing wonderfully in her changing. So, what does that mean? Let's come back over here. I'm sorry, let me read this again. Wonderfully in her changing, When does the moon start to change? Right here. What is the first change? The first week, first 7 days, going into the 8th day. That's when it's changed. Wonderfully in her changing. When does the moon change from dark to light? The first week. Week number 1, week number 2, week number 3, week number 4. I'm sorry, this is the new moon. Week 1, week 2, week 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Week 1 would be right about here. Week 2 would be here. So the changing comes in like 3.5 days. So this would be week 1. Do it yourself. Look up in the skies. Look up in the sky and see. There's apps on your smartphone that give you the cycle of the moons. You can look at your app and then look in the sky and see it looks exactly like the moon up in the sky looks exactly what your app looks like. I can go get my smartphone and show you that. Whatever stage the moon is in, it's on your smartphone. It's on that app. So this would be 3.5 days. Do it. Do the experiment. 3.5 days is going to look just like this. A week is going to look like this. Another week. So this is 2 weeks. You see the full moon, you know that we're 2 weeks. So a bib come around, you know that the Passover comes in this time. When they were eating the Passover, they would look up in the heavens and the sun was out there. Plus, Yahushua, and I said this and I kind of went off track. Yahushua was crucified. It got dark. What made it dark? A scientist would tell you, it was a lunar eclipse. And a lunar eclipse, the longest lunar eclipse was for almost 400. To be almost exact, 3 hours and about 41 minutes and change. It was darkness for 3 hours. So that was a lunar eclipse as opposed to a solar eclipse. Solar eclipse it's not out there. You got to catch it quick. It might be out there for maybe 20 minutes, depending on whatever moon, full moon, whatever. But a lunar eclipse, when everything goes dark for about 3 hours change, is always on the full moon. So I'm breaking it down to you. And like I said, these guys in the IUIC, they're all mockingbirds. Whatever this guy says, they go with it. Okay, he said it. He's a great God. He's either Elijah. We don't know whether he's Elijah or Peter, which he said the other day in a video. that he said Abba is Elijah coming back. Well, so that means that your Abba came back again as you. From the new moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. Her perfection is when the moon is full and it decreases. The light starts to fade. It wanes. The month is called after a name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. We're going to look up the word change or changing. Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. It says increasing, increasing, increasing wonderfully, wonderfully in her changing. Let's come back over here. When does it increase? Increasing wonderfully in her changing. When does the moon start to change? I say she because the moon is considered a feminine. When does it start changing? When you don't see the moon is dark, that's the change. That's the change. When you see this, you know that we're about 3.5 days in. It keeps changing. Then it's full, then it changes the other way around. Increasing wonderfully in her changing. And the perfection is right here. And it starts to decrease in her perfection. Like I said, if you can't see it, you're going to take the microchip. Because your master's going to tell you. If he tell you, I hope he wakes up, man. You know? Even Bakwash. You know, Hard Rock Truth, he was on Sarnetta. And he put a comment up there saying that he said it's the chip, but it's something else. Just like Zabak. I think Zabak said that it's the chip, but it's something else. So now they're beginning. Nate said they could put a chip in there too. Wait a minute. You said it had nothing to do with the chip, physical. It was sent in all of its forms. And the part said, she mentioned GMS a couple of times. GMS is the main group that teaches the mark of the beast, and she said yeah, it's a chip. It says the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So changing means what? The word week, when a week goes by and another week goes by and 4 weeks go by for the moon cycle, right? The word week means to change, and we're going to prove that. Week, it tells you it's from Old English, wuku, Weiss, Proto-Germanic, Wiko, Wicca, Middle Dutch, week, German, Wicca, probably originally with the sense of a turning or succession, which is a changing, right? Compare Gothic week on in the course of Old North Vika, because sometimes instead of saying week, they would say the W, they would make the V sound. That's why the small hats use the word V, because they're German. Ashkenazi. Simao, originally change. Wonderfully increase, wonderfully in her changing. That's when the weeks come in. Of aura, which is light, changing of light. It increases and decreases. Let me come down here. Meaning primarily change. So the word week is goes back to the word German, whatever, Germanic, whatever. It goes back to the word change, meaning primarily change, alteration. The word may once have denoted some earlier time division, such as the change of moon, half moon. Wonderfully in her changing. The word changing, the word weak, the word means Germanic, Proto-Germanic. It means to change. A moon is cut up into primarily 4 weeks. And like I said, you look up in the sky, you know exactly what time of the month it is. Anyway, I think I said enough. I went a little long. And I made it I thoroughly broke it down. So if you're going to believe Nate, you go right ahead. Keep believing in him. Like what's the group? Was that Journey, Genesis, whatever. Don't stop believing. Yeah, you don't stop believing. Shalom.